Miks is the worst designed agent Riot has released, and I'm not saying that because he's weak. I'm saying it because his abilities feel lazy, uninspired, and they barely use his own theme. Miks is supposed to be a sound-based controller, but most of his abilities don't even interact with sound in a meaningful way. So today, I completely reworked his entire kit, and by the end of this video, you will see how Miks could have been one of the most unique controllers in Valorant. Let's start with his first ability, Harmonize. Right now, Harmonize gives an ally combat stim for 8 seconds, and Miks also gets the buff. If either of you gets a kill while both are alive, the duration refreshes. On paper, that sounds decent, but in reality, it's pretty weak and extremely boring. First of all, combat stim itself isn't that strong anymore. It was recently nerfed from 50% to 10%, which already lowered its impact a lot. And even worse, there is already an ability that does this better. Brimstone's Stim Beacon gives the buff to your entire team, not just one ally. Yes, it doesn't refresh on kills like Miks' ability, but realistically, getting a kill within 8 seconds just to refresh the duration is very inconsistent. So instead of just buffing numbers like 10 seconds instead of 8, which would be boring, I redesigned the ability to actually fit Miks' sound theme. In my rework, when Miks uses Harmonize on an ally, both players still get combat stim for 8 seconds and the duration still refreshes on kills, but there is also a brand new effect. Both players become completely silent. That means even if you run without holding shift, enemies can't hear your footsteps at all. And suddenly the ability becomes way more interesting. You can silently rush a site, sneak behind enemies, or secure kills much easier, which helps you refresh the duration again and again. It's aggressive, tactical, and most importantly, it finally connects to Miks' sound identity. But Harmonize isn't the only ability in his kit that has problems. His device ability also needs a small change. Now let's talk about M-Pulce. This ability is actually the best designed ability in Miks' kit. When Miks throws the device, it creates a zone that can either stun players or heal players, depending on the mode you choose. And there are actually some really cool ideas here. First, is the first ability in Valorant that lets you switch between two completely different effects. Second, the heal zone can even heal enemies, which is something we have never seen before. And third, the device can actually be destroyed with bullets, even by your team. So that's a really unique mechanic. So because of that, I'm not reworking this ability, but it does need a small buff. The healing mode is actually fine. Since you get 2 charges, you can technically heal your whole team twice from 1 HP, which is pretty strong. The real issue is the stun mode. Most of the time, you throw it at enemies like a molly, hoping it will activate. But the device can be destroyed with just 2 classic bullets, which means enemies almost always break it instantly. Now obviously, we can't make it indestructible. Imagine if enemy Miks throws 2 stun devices at you and there is no counterplay. That will be broken. So the simple fix is this. Increase the device HP so it takes 3 or 4 bullets instead of just 2. That way enemies can still destroy it, but it's not completely useless anymore. So overall, M-Pulce stays mostly the same, but he smokes. They are easily the worst part of his entire kit. Now let's look at Waveform, his smoke ability. When you activate it, Miks open a tactical map just like Brimstone or Clove. You place your smokes and they appear on the map. And that's it. No special mechanic, no new gameplay, nothing. It's basically a copy-paste smoke ability. Clove also copied Brimstone's placement style, but at least Clove had a unique twist. They could use smokes even after dying. Miks, however, has no unique mechanic at all, so I added one that finally connects to his sound theme. In my rework, when enemies enter Miks smoke, they become deaf for as long as they stay inside it. They can't hear footsteps, they can't hear abilities, they basically lose one of the most important information sources in the game, sound. This opens up a lot of interesting plays. For example, if you're defusing the spike, enemies inside the smoke won't hear the diffuse sound. Or if you combo your stun device with the smoke, enemies inside the smoke won't hear that device landing. However, because this effect is pretty strong, the smoke needs a small nerf to balance. So in my version, the smoke duration will be 14 seconds, the same as Clove's. This keeps it balanced, while still giving the ability a unique identity. Some people might suggest something even stronger, like muting all sounds happening inside the smoke, but that would honestly be too broken, because then enemies outside the smoke wouldn't hear a diffuse at all. That would basically be like giving Miks a free Astra ultimate every round. Astra's ultimate is powerful for a reason. So instead, my version still allows counterplay. Enemies outside the smoke can still hear what's happening, but players inside the smoke lose their audio completely. Now, the last part of Miks' kit is unfortunately his ultimate, and it might actually be the most disappointing ability he has. Right now, Miks' ultimate tries to do a little bit of everything, but it doesn't do anything well. It knocks enemies back like Breach's ultimate, but it doesn't stun them, so they can still shoot you normally. It deafens enemies like Fade's ultimate, but it doesn't decay them, so it's harder to secure kills. And it slows enemies similar to Veilei's ultimate, but the slow is much weaker. So the ability ends up feeling like a combination of other ultimates without bringing anything new. And it also doesn't really fit his role as a controller. Controllers are supposed to block space and control vision, so I redesigned his ultimate completely. In Rework, when you activate the ultimate, a long rectangular zone appears in front of you. When you cast it, Miks claps his hands, and a massive tunnel-shaped smoke appears. Imagine something similar to Neon's wall, but instead of flat wall, it's a closed cylinder-shaped tunnel made of smoke. Neon's wall length is about 45 meters, and this tunnel would be same, but the tunnel lasts longer, 15 seconds. The width is about the size of a normal smoke, so it covers the choke points and entrances. But here's the unique mechanic. When enemies try to enter the tunnel, they get knocked back by powerful sound waves, so they literally cannot push through the smoke. However, to keep it balanced, the knockback effect only works 5 times total. After 5 knockbacks, the tunnel loses its pushback power, and enemies can finally walk through. So opponents have 2 options. They can run into the smoke repeatedly to break the knockback, or they can wait 15 seconds for it to disappear. Meanwhile, you and your team can freely move through the tunnel, and every time an enemy gets knocked back, it creates a loud sound cue, revealing their position. And here's the most fun part. If an enemy somehow gets stuck inside the tunnel, they get bounced back and forth between both ends of the smoke, which basically traps them inside with you. At that point, it's almost a guaranteed kill. Even after the knockback charges are gone, the smoke still stays active for the full 15 seconds, continuing to block vision and control space. And that's exactly what a controller ultimate should do. It blocks sight, controls space, and uses sound waves as its core mechanic, which finally makes Miks feel like a true sound-based controller. So that's my full rework for Miks. Would you play this version of Miks, or do you have better ideas? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this agent reworks, make sure to subscribe. Also check out my hardware rework video right here.